Hi Hannalei, good morning. It's Miss Vail for 10 o'clock story time. I'd like to start with a few announcements for Mr. K, and then we'll just see how it goes. So the first thing that I need to mention to you all is please check your emails daily and look for updates from the district. That will tell you where to pick up packets, what's going on with the virtual learning, and also where you can pick up your food. I also wanted to let you know that today after 11 o'clock, you can pick up learning packets at the school by the office on a table. Please remember that if there are a lot of people picking up packets at the same time, you keep your 6 feet social distance. And I hope to see you all soon. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. And one more thing. The Hannalei PTA has a page also, and they're going to be doing At Home with Hannalei, so you can see all of the staff members and what they do at home, and try to stay connected and support one another through this time. I was thinking about how nervous this made me to be online and being live and doing a video, and the way I look and the way I sound, and at first I didn't want to do it. And then I thought, but I need to connect with my kids, I miss them a lot, and I'm always asking them to take themselves out of their comfort zones and do something that's different, and it's demanding every single day. And so I thought, I need to be doing something like that myself. And so I'm doing the best that I can, and I hope you enjoy the stories I picked out. I picked them out for a reason. They're stories that I feel are important. And the first one that I'm going to read is by an author, Bernard Most. And it's one that I used to read to my daughter when she was little. And it's called Catch Me If You Can. And it's a green light reader. He was the biggest dinosaur of them all. The other dinosaurs were afraid of him. When the biggest dinosaur went by, the other dinosaurs quickly hid. They were afraid of his great big tail. They were afraid of his great big claws. They were afraid of his great big feet. But most of all, they were afraid of his great big teeth. One little dinosaur wasn't afraid. She didn't run. She didn't hide. "Catch me if you can," she called to the biggest dinosaur. "I'm not afraid of your great big tail. Catch me if you can." "I'm not afraid of your great big claws. Catch me if you can." "I'm not afraid of your great big feet. Catch me if you can." "And most of all, I'm not afraid of your great big teeth." "I can catch you," said the biggest dinosaur, and he grabbed the little dinosaur. But she only got a great big hug. "I love you very much, Grandpa," said the little dinosaur. "And I love you too," said the biggest dinosaur of them all. I love that book. Reminds me of how important my father is to my daughter as a grandfather and as a father to me. And with him, we carry so many memories, happy memories of growing up together, and then watching him be a grandfather to my daughter, which takes me into my next book that is a book that is very near and dear to my heart. And it's called Wilfrid, McDonald, Partridge. And it's written by Mem Fox, and it's illustrated by Julie Vivas. Mem Fox is an Australian writer, and so there are some words and phrases in here that might sound unfamiliar to you, or some games that she talks about that are unfamiliar to you, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the reason I love this book is it contains so many things that we talk about in habits of mind and in character. And for this book, the main character, Wilfrid Gordon, is a boy who is very interested in learning and inquiry and asking questions and finding out. And I feel like in this book, he really uses the habit of mind of respect for older people, which is our character trait for this month. And he also uses a lot of metacognition. He thinks about his thinking, and he's not satisfied with just saying, oh, okay, that's sad. He thinks about how he can fix things as a young mind. And there's so many more things that we could, talk about with this book because it's important. And Mem Fox is an author who writes important stories. So if you like this book, go online and Google Mem Fox and find out what other books she writes. With that being said, I'll start the book now. Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge. There was once a small boy called Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge. And what's more, he wasn't very old either. His house was next door to an old people's home, and he knew all of the people who lived there. He liked Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. An organ is like a piano. He listened to Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. He played Tippet, who was crazy. He played with Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. Cricket is a game that they play in Australia that's a little bit like baseball. He ran errands for Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. He admired Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. But his favorite person of all was Miss Nancy Delacour Cooper, because she had 4 names, just like he did. He called her Miss Nancy, and he told her all of his secrets. One day, Wilfrid Gordon heard his mother and father talking about Miss Nancy. Poor old thing, said his mother. Why is she a poor old thing? Asked Wilfrid Gordon. Because she's lost her memory, said his father. It isn't surprising, said his mother. After all, she is 96. What's a memory? Asked Wilfrid Gordon. He was always asking questions. It's something that you remember, said his father. But Wilfrid Gordon wanted to know more. So he called on Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. What's a memory, he asked. It's something warm, my child. It's something warm. He called on Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. What's a memory? He asked Mr. Hosking. It's something from long ago, me lad. Something from long ago. He called on Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. What's a memory, he asked. Something that makes you cry, my boy. Something that makes you cry. He called on Mrs. Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. What's a memory, he asked. Something that makes you laugh, my darling. It's something that makes you laugh. He called on Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. What is a memory, he asked. It's something as precious as gold, young man. It's something as precious as gold. So, Wilfrid Gordon went home again to look for memories for Miss Nancy because she had lost her own. He looked for the shoebox of shells that he had found long ago last summer, and he put them gently into a basket. He found the puppet on strings, which always made everyone laugh, and he put that into the basket too. He remembered with sadness the medal which his grandfather had given him, and he placed it gently into the basket next to the shells. Next, he found his football, which was as precious as gold. And last of all, on his way to Miss Nancy's, he went into the hen house and he took a fresh, warm egg from under the hen. Then Wilfrid Gordon called on Miss Nancy and gave her each thing, one by one. What a dear, strange child to bring me all of these wonderful things, thought Miss Nancy. And then she started to remember. She held the warm egg and told Wilfrid Gordon about the tiny speckled blue eggs she had once found in a bird's nest in her auntie's garden. She put the shell to her ear and remembered going to the beach by the tram a long time ago and how hot she felt in her button-up boots. She touched the medal and talked sadly of the big brother she had loved who had gone to the war and never returned. She smiled at the puppet on strings and remembered the one she had shown to her sister and how she had laughed with a mouthful of porridge. She bounced the football to Wilfrid Gordon and remembered the day that she had met him and all of the secrets that they had told. And the two of them smiled and smiled because Miss Nancy's memory had been found again by a small boy who wasn't very old either. I hope you all enjoyed that story, and I see a lot of comments coming on the screen. But unfortunately, I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'm going to have to check those out later. And I hope I did it okay. Anyway, with both of these stories in mind, think about your elderly people in your family, your grandparents, and other people's grandparents. And stay at home, and that's how you can be a hero too. And how you can do things like Wilfrid Gordon, big things, even if it doesn't seem like it, and you're staying at home and you're bored. You're making powerful changes for the people around you. And stay safe at home. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon. Love you lots.